Hello everyone, and welcome back to my Let's Play series for The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom. I am S.A.N, and when last we left off, we had just finished up in S.A.N and got the final sanction, only for Null to arrive and create a duplicate of us in order to pull essentially a Ganondorf on us. Null wants to make use of our hard work to get a hold of the Triforce. So, we have to prevent that. And as I'm sure you can tell by the length of this video, since it's over an hour, this will be the final chapter. I decided it would be best to get this all done at once because there's a reason for that. I'll tell you what it is when we get there. Yes, so we have to head to Eternal Forest, which is this game's version of the Lost Woods, essentially. Alright, he's going to run off and secure the area for us. Yeah, we didn't have a chance to tell him that Null made an echo of us. Oops. Oh well. I'm sure that will only cause problems. Alright, before we head towards the Eternal Forest, however, there's a few things I want to do first. First, I want to clear up this little section of the map down there that we still haven't gotten to. And we should also probably go upgrade the Sword Fighter form. Not that it's going to matter much for much longer, as you'll see. Nevertheless, here we are back at Blueberry's house. Alright, yeah, well, we're going to enhance the bombs because it's the only thing we can afford to enhance. I mean, I'm fairly certain this isn't going to matter at all. I don't think I'm going to really use the bombs that much going forward. So yeah, we can now turn them into bomb and choose by holding down the button, basically. We can charge them into bomb and choose. Which is kind of nice, but again, I highly doubt it's going to matter. And yeah, we're basically getting no more might crystals from here on. Alright, now we're going to go back to S.A.N for a little bit to try and fill in this last section of the map. Alright, here we are. I'm fairly certain there's not much left in that section of the map that's important, but we might as well make sure. Besides, I like filling in the map. Exploration is the best part of these games, and this is going to be our last chance, really. Alright. Oh, there's a stamp place down there. Alright, might as well get this. There we go. The last stamp we're going to get in this game. I'm just going to warp back because it's simpler. Alright, and now we will head down into the last section of the map, try and get this all sorted out. Okay, so we're back in Southern Forest. Right, getting there. Oh, okay. Some moblins to take care of. Well, let's see how they are matched for my 3 freezers. I think I can summon 3 of these guys now. Triple Frostbite. Oh. Alright. I lost 1. There we go. It's so hot in Canada at the moment. I'd really, really like to just stand in front of these things and let me cool me off, but I don't think it would have any effect because they can't actually... I don't think their frostbite can actually harm me because you can stand in front of them with no ill effect. Which probably means it won't cool you off at all. Refreshing grapes. Okay. I mean... I might make some more potions before the finale, just to make sure I'm prepared. However, it's probably not going to matter too much. More moldems. Okay, there's a treasure chest down there. Alright, this section is now lit up on the map, so the fog is cleared away. And here we have money. Probably not going to matter. I think I need 1,000 rupees for the final accessory slot upgrade, and we're not getting to that. And just a last check here, just to be certain that we've got everything that we can. Yeah, there we go. Alright, time to head to Eternal Forest. Yeah, we'll go here with the potion shop along the way, and then we'll head into the forest. Alright, good idea, good plan. Alright, yeah, so let's stock up some potions. And then we'll head into the forest. What do I want? Those energy refilling potions, these milk potions are basically pretty good. I probably want some of those. Yeah. Alright, so we're gonna make 5 of those, I think. And then we'll go in. Alright, there we go. Now that we have all stocked up, let's go move on. So, which way's into the forest? Oh. Stairs going down? Is there anything important down here? This is like a storeroom area. Probably nothing. Also, we're probably not getting any more heart pieces. I think we've reached the end of that. I mean, I know there are other heart pieces to get, obviously, but considering we're heading into the end game basically now, there's not much chance of that, is there? Alright. Eternal Forest, or Eternal Forest. I think Eternal Forest is a Pokemon. So yeah, it's kind of a misty forest. Very similar to Lost Woods, except you don't actually get lost. Those pedestals there are going to become important in a moment. But we'll get to that. Alright. They're like jumping on top of the freezers, I've noticed that. It does offer them some protection from the frost breath, but not much. The frost breath does have a cone effect, so it does go vertical and down as well as the sides. It's just not a very big cone. I suppose, to be fair, frost breath, even in our campaign, isn't that big of a cone. It's only 30 feet. But that's more like a 15-foot one. So we don't actually have to worry about getting lost in this version of the Lost Woods, which is probably why they didn't call it the Lost Woods. Now, over here is a big clearing. I'm pretty sure there's a side quest related to this, which we're probably not going to get to. Which is unfortunate, because it's kind of a secret monster, and kind of which means a secret echo. But we're not getting to that, I'm afraid. Maybe I'll do a special video at some point about that, highlighting it, if I can think of it. Or maybe not. Don't ask me why I'm bothering with this. Probably just because this is we're at the end of the series, and I kind of just want to have a bit more fun before we can go on. Oh, a big moblin with a big sword and a big shield. Oh, he doesn't freeze. Okay then. This well, there we go. This is a bit more exciting. And again, I know this is basically just not really all that interesting, because it's just another monster taking on. But well, there's very little of this game left, as I keep saying. Let's enjoy what time we have left here. There we go. Just deleted the one he was standing on. Sword Moblin level 3. Pretty nasty one, by the looks of it. And get more rupees I'm not going to be able to spend. Alright, I believe we're heading toward the way we need to go now. Yeah. Oh, look. They didn't take them very long to run something they could not handle. How are they still following for this now? I mean, come on, guys. Yeah. Alright, we should probably take a look at this tablet then. Alright, so the tablet says the path will open when the 6 pedestals are crowned. To crown each pedestal, demonstrate your power echoes, and prove your wisdom. As you can see here, we have, so we basically have 6 pedestals like that in the forest, and we need to place these orbs atop them. Alright, I'm going to bind this one and place it here. Mainly because I only have 6 tri-points, meaning if I use an echo for all of them, I'm not going to have anything left to defend myself with, and there's still monsters in the forest. So that's not happening. Alright, so that's one down. We've seen a bunch of the other ones in the forest. We have to go place the other 5, and the other 5 have to be echoes. So, let's go. Here's number 2. It's not placed anywhere difficult. I'm going to definitely favorite these ancient orbs for the moment. There we go. Yeah, as you can see, even with that echo place, try is still down 1 try point. Each of them count as echoes we have to place, so this is going to cost us try points. And we need to place 4 more of these things. So I want to try and hang on to my ability to summon echoes as long as possible, so we don't have to worry about monsters. Alright, here's another one. Oh, nope, apparently I didn't see that then. Don't worry, we'll be back. Oh, there's one. Alright, number 3. And I'm pretty sure you can tell at this point what shape they're adding up to. If you can't, don't worry, it'll make sense in a couple minutes. Here's number 4. I mean, should be fairly obvious at this point what shape is being made here. There we go, now I see it. Just avoid them, because it's not important. Alright, that's number 5. And as you can see, they basically make the same shape on the map, so we want one that's relatively in the middle and on the left. And there it is. It just happens to be guarded by a Dekubaba. Fortunately... Oh, I can... Yeah, I guess I can just use the sword fighter form. It's probably one of its last uses. There we go, and that's all 6 placed. Alright, now I have to go back to the tablet and sort this out. Yes, it forms the Triforce symbol. It's pretty obvious. There we go, and it eliminates that illusion for us. This does beg the question how imposter Zelda got through here. Because did she not have to undertake the test? Yeah. I know. I think it's a pretty big hole in the goddess's security that an imposter of, you know, Zelda, who went through all the trouble of getting all the sanctions, can just easily walk on through. I mean, does she not have the sanctions? I mean, they're in our inventory. I guess, I don't know if they actually are in our inventory or not. It's one of those things where I guess it's enough to impersonate. Or, I don't know. We won't need the orbs anymore. And at this point, I basically decided I was going to take one last shot at trying to find the secret monster in this grove. At this point, I didn't know if this was going to be 1 video or 2 when I made it. Just so you're aware, because I wasn't aware how long this was going to go yet. However, I could not get it to show up. I don't know if that means I have to take... I know there's a side quest related to it, and there are tracks you can see right there, those hoof marks. However, well, it never came, nothing came of it, so... But nothing more can really be said, unfortunately. So now we're in the Sacred Grove, essentially, from A Link to the Past. And look, the Deku Tree! Wow, we're going to be seeing you again really shortly after this. But I'll get more to that later. You have returned quickly. Okay, so... Echo Zelda's been through here. I wonder why they keep referring to the Prime Energy as opposed to the Triforce. It's not the first time they've done that. And Link to the Past, I said previously, was referred to as the Golden Power, or the Power of Gold. And in Minish Cap, I believe it was called the Light Force. But they're basically always referring to the same thing. Alright. Well. Hopefully, whatever other security measures they have for guarding the Triforce can tell the difference between Zelda and an imposter, because not even the Deku Tree was able to do it. Oh, the door's open. Oh, well, that barrier didn't last. Good grief. What kind of security, basic level security measures are in place to protect this ancient magical relic that grants wishes and, like, untold temporal power over reality? Is it there that just anyone who looks like Zelda can just walk up and claim it? Did not use two-factor authentication? Well, alright. Hey. We should probably save. Get away from the Triforce! Yes, otherwise known as the Triforce. I think the point is this is the first time we've seen the Triforce since, in an actual mainline Zelda game since Skyward Sword. Because it was not in Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom, really. Yeah. And then reality started, and existence was a thing, and life was a thing, and then your whole world of primordial chaos and nothingness kind of fell apart. Oh no! Yeah, back to nothingness. Oh, you have to, like... At least Ganon's desires for the Triforce are kind of understandable. He wants to rule Hyrule and have, like, he's a tyrant. He wants to have power over everything. This is just, like, utter nullification. Utter null and void of all reality is just... I guess it's a more pure form of evil, if you want to think of it that way. Okay, the Triforce has to have better security than this, right? Yeah, it does. Because it can do this. I'm sure you're familiar with the Triforce's primary property, which is to divide itself if someone unbalanced holds it and attempts to use his wish. And absolutely, nothing is more unbalanced than wanting to unmake all of creation. Yeah. So Zelda ends up with the Triforce of Wisdom. Null, being the villain, ends up with the Triforce of Power. And, of course, the Triforce of Courage will go to Link. We're not out of the woods yet, though, because this imposter can still gather the remaining Triforce pieces, because we've seen that happen a few times. Ganondorf has tried to do that a few times. Alright, apparently we have to pursue her through this portal. Sensing something really unpleasant through there. Yeah, well, she went through there. Alright, let's go. We need to get the rest of the Prime Energy. Time to enter the final rift. Alright, let's go. Welcome to the final rift. It's kind of a mismatch of everything we've encountered thus far. And that big dark mass in the back is Null. And that's where we're heading. Alright, time to prevent them from getting another villain from getting their hands on the Triforce and causing havoc in Hyrule. Alright, this is a pretty big area. The good news is, we do not have to worry about most of it. Lots of monsters, lots of shadows, lots of places that we can fall off of, and a lot of hazards. But as I said, the good news is we can basically bypass pretty much all of this at this point. I'm just going to summon some echoes to distract the enemies sometimes more than actually fight them, if I can, and keep going. Alright, and now we need to... Oh, dear. Oh, not those things again. What are they called? Patra? Or... More... I can't remember what they're called. I'm pretty sure they used to be called Patra. That's also a spell in Shin Megami Tensei. Alright. The Ice Wizrobe is more than a match for them, as soon as it can presumably get a target on them and not bother with the stupid sand piranhas. There we go. Alright, now that they're taken care of, all I need... Oh! No? Oh, it's overlapping, I guess. Alright. Clouds then, I guess. Clouds. Oh, okay. That's not gonna work. Go the other way. Ah! Ah! Yeah. Well, they had to fall a few more times. Even in Null's realm now, like the heart of Null's power and that sort of thing, we still don't take fall damage from that. There we go. Okay. Ah! And there we go one more time. As I've said, there's not much point in us dealing with most of this. There's very little here of note. We just want to keep heading towards, well, basically forward, for all intents and purposes, or north if you want. And, what is this? Do all of them turn into these things? Don't know why I'm even bothering to get this warp point. As you can see, we've skipped a whole section there. We can keep doing that, unfortunately. Alright, slight dip in the icy water. Alright, okay, careful. I'm just gonna go this way, away from the monsters. There we go, Staircase of Clouds. Shadow Freezers. I don't think we've seen them yet. There we go, oh, and now Buzz Blobs. The good news is I think we're skipping the entire lava section. Yes, we are. I'm happy about that. Alright, any day when we get to skip an entire lava section is a good day in my books. Another warp point. Alright, this is starting to look more and more like Hyrule Castle now. No. Alright. And here we are. Yep. Oh, come on. Who else besides Link is the hero of Hyrule? Come on. Yeah, it's Link. We found him. He's stuck in a crystal just like we were at the start. My, how times have changed. Well, yes, we're here. I didn't have to deal with... Time to deal with you. It's not much later now. Yeah, the entire Triforce is gathered here. So, time for a fight. A fight against ourselves. Well, Link has done this many times. Alright, let's see what this imposter is made out of. Alright, since this is a mirror match, she's mainly going to use the same strategy we do. With one slight difference. Unlike us, she's not limited by a set number of tri-points, so she can summon many echoes, and will indeed do so, as you can see. The other problem is they can draw attacks from our echoes, like my Wizrobe here. She tends to go within sets of elements, like going between electricity, fire, ice, that sort of thing. And this fight has a few phases. She teleports around by turning into one of those little shadow doppelganger things. And basically just spends the entire fight floating through the air. There we go. We're into the ice phase now. The downside is my Wizrobe will not be able to damage any of her ice enemies, so if it casts at them, it's just a waste of time. As you can see there. Fortunately, she'll just switch between them elements and phases on her own, without any prompting from us. Eventually, we'll do enough damage to stun her, and that's our opportunity to go into Sword Fighter form and just go in and whack her. And now we're on to phase 2. Phase 2 is pretty similar. She just now summons some slightly more advanced echoes, like the higher level Darknuts and the Dripatoon, and tries to set up even more issues for us. I really wish the Freezer would be able to reach her. Because she floats in the air, it doesn't really work, because having multiple echoes at a time really does help here. The Wizrobe is powerful, but it can easily be outnumbered, and because she can summon so many echoes at a time, it basically just gets distracted by them all, as you can see. Fortunately, time is on our side here. We just have to keep moving. And eventually, one of his spells will connect to her. A lot of the echoes that she summons are basically a cross between hazards like these slugs or the buzz blobs, and actual enemies that will try and attack us like the Lizalfos and the Darknuts. As long as we stay mobile, though, we're fine, because most of them are pretty slow. The downside is there's a lot of them, and because there's a lot of them, that means, well, as you can see, my Wizrobe is just going to, you know, just miss all the time, hitting them instead. Interestingly, I think in Phase 2, she kind of drops using her ice-themed echoes. Or at the very least, she seems to... Unless that's what those Tweeless things are supposed to be? I don't know. Not important. As you can see, this fight's really about patience and not getting greedy. Eventually, she'll go down, and then we can go in and just attack. And here we reach Phase 3. Phase 3 is kind of similar, more the same. The main difference is now she's going to really cheat and start summoning some overpowered echoes that even we don't have access to. Like these massive Darknuts. They do a lot of damage. Fortunately, I stocked up on potions before we came here. Yeah, and now we have a whole bunch of enemies to worry about. Basically, this is basically what the fight is. More and more of the same. I guess for a penultimate boss, or I guess a mini-boss if you want, because there's no heart container, and there's no real title or anything that drops. Oh yeah, and then these really big sword moblins that we just fought outside. And moblins with boomerangs, which I don't remember ever encountering in this game. Yeah, this is not a kind phase for us. Oh, giant Lizalfos. Oh, and those scorpion things. Yeah, the Lizalfos can jump, which means they can actually attack my Wizrobe. There we go. Alright, this should be it. There we go. Boss fight done. Unfortunately, she's going to take the Triforce of Power and run. Gonna drink a potion. I probably should have just used the bed, but that's fine. Alright. Now we need to go into Sword Fighter form one last time and free Link the same way he freed us at the start, by hitting it with an arrow. Come on, Link. Use your chibi fists. If Zelda can do it, you definitely can. There we go. Hello, Link. Welcome back to the game. You've kind of... I'm not sure what you've been up to this entire game. That's okay. He's pretty tough. Yeah, we are finally reunited. We have the Triforce of Wisdom and the Triforce of Courage, and we now need to go get the Triforce of Power back from Null. This is just business as usual for us. Yep. Don't worry, we've done this many times before. Yeah, we do kind of need to give Link his weapons back. As I said, it wasn't going to matter too much, because now we have to give Link back his weapons, which means we lose access to the Sword Fighter form. Which is perfectly fine, because let's be honest, I haven't really been using it very much. I've only been using it on occasion. Yeah, and this is, by the way, the point of no return. If you want to do anything else in this game, do it before you go inside the sphere. On the other hand, I'm ready to wrap up this game because it's been quite a long time, and we have something else to move on to next. But let's go. Alright, for the last time, the campaign. Spin to win! And he goes. And we go in two. Alright. Welcome to the final section of the game. Inside Null. So we have to work together with Link in tandem this time. So he basically takes over the Sword Fighter form, and is essentially an AI companion character. So inside Null's body, and here's the thing, we cannot save. At any point in here can we save. This is when I decided this was going to have to all be done in one video, by the way. Because we're not allowed to save at any point here. I probably should have saved before we came in, but that's perfectly fine. Yeah, at no point can we save. At any point. I'm going to try a few times. It doesn't matter. This has to all be done in one go. The good news is, we're incredibly well prepared for this. The bad news is there are monsters in here. Null's not taking this lying down. Everything in here is one of these shadow echoes. Makes sense. We're basically fighting Null, essentially. And these are like Null's antibodies because we're inside their body. So lots of waves of enemies. That we have to defeat in order to progress. Okay, here's the Lionel Shadow Echo. We didn't get the Lionel Echo. I think this is what the monster I wanted to go after was. Now, there goes a fairy. Apparently fairies only restore 3 hearts in this game. I think it used to be like 8. I made all of those energy potions, so they're not going to be able to restore hearts as well. See, the downside to the way Link is played by the AI is he basically will stand back and primarily shoot with his bow. That's fine, because it does help us, but it does mean we kind of have to take the brunt of the damage from that Lionel. The good news is it's basically the only one in here. I'm definitely going to take a rest after that. Yeah, and you also see Null decides to split us up at this point. They're splitting the party! No! Well, that's fine. We can both handle ourselves at this point. We're going to have to work in tandem still, but now we're going to be basically in almost separate rooms. You'll see as we go along. I don't know what I mean. Again, try to save again. Alright. As you can see, Link's kind of off on his own there, and we have to help him out by opening this door. This is basically how this section goes. Regardless what Link is actually going to be trying to accomplish on his side, we basically are still the active player. So we need to actually make all the decisions. And solve all the puzzles and help him out. Fortunately, for the most part, this is pretty straightforward. Oh, we also have to fight enemies together. Hey, good news! The only freezer in this echo in this part besides mine are the ones on his side. Yeah, Link can be frozen. And in case you're wondering, as far as I know, Link doesn't actually have health or anything or hit points, so it's fine, and he can take care of himself anyway. He also can help us out once he's dealt with his monsters, which is good because he actually does do more damage than our echoes, as you can see. Alright, this section's kind of a series of a series of fights and of puzzles, until we get to Null, essentially. I keep checking to see if we can save. We can't. Down these stairs. I don't even want to know what these actually are in Null's body, but these are... Yeah, it's kind of weird being inside. This has been a reoccurring theme in some of these games. Being inside something as a dungeon. Oh, okay, yep. And I'm gonna fall. Fortunately, it won't push you. It'll just stop if it runs into you. Alright, so we have to go there. So what we're supposed to do is bind ourselves to that platform there. That's up. That's going in the L-shaped pattern. And it'll drag us through there. That's not what I started off doing, though. My first thought was to follow this, which is good. What I should do now is bind myself to that, but instead I want to look for the Strantula Echo because that's how we've done these things before. And every time I look for it, because I have more echoes now, it's in a different place and I can't seem to find it. And then it takes a while. To make matters worse, it's not even the right way we're supposed to be doing this time. Watch. I summon the Echo. It extends its spider silk, but I cannot jump up there. There's not enough room to move across. Now I bind myself to the platform, and now we're through. This next section has a bunch of gust masters we need to worry about, which will blow away my clouds and water blocks, regardless, so we have to actually get rid of them. I try doing it differently initially, just conjuring up water blocks to get high enough, and then try using an actual cloud. That doesn't work. I find it funny how we're inside Null's body, which means presumably this entire area is hostile to us, and we're still not taking fall damage. Yeah, and it's at this point that I decide, never mind, let's just kill the Gust Masters. Because it simplifies everything. Yeah, there's a couple more here. Hey, the wizard took both of them out at once. Oh, yet more air currents to worry about. And another Gust Master. Alright. Well, this cannot possibly be worse than that time I had to do this over lava. So, yeah. So as you can see, we need to go that way, which means the Gust Master is once again in our way. Which means, once again, it needs to die. There we go. Alright, now the Gust Master is dead. This is fairly straightforward. We just need to time this right. I'm going to need my cloud echo here. There we go. Just need to make sure it's far enough away from the wind so that the wind doesn't disrupt it. Then we land on it. And then it's just a staircase of clouds like we've done about 1,000 times by now. And there we go. We're out of this 2D section. Now I have to go find Link again. Alright, as you can see, we've switched sides now, essentially, of the screens. Now we need to form a pathway for Link so that he can get up to that switch and get rid of the bars on the door. This one's all about angles, by the way. As you can see, I'm trying to conjure my echoes through it, but they're hitting this central wall, pillar, whatever you want to call it. They'll go through these bars perfectly fine, as you can see. I tested there. And Link will naturally navigate to it. Unfortunately, the water blocks don't work, so we need something else. He also will ignore the clouds if they are not positioned correctly. For example, he can't jump to these clouds I'm summoning at the moment, so he just ignores them. Yeah, so getting the angle right is the main thing here. Decided that it might be a good idea to conjure some ice blocks and make a staircase for him to go up. Yeah. Getting this angle right is the problem. Yeah, there's the other. See? This is tricky. But once you know what the solution is, it's not too difficult. But this is one of these puzzles, I think, in this game that only has a few possible solutions. And I only really ever came up with one. And we're going to have to wait a little while as I figure out what it is and try basically everything else. There we go. So the platform echo here is kind of what I decided on might be a good idea, because if we can get Link on it, it can act as an elevator to lift him up, just as we've done hundreds of times for us at this point. The downside is, as we know, we can't really jump on top of that, so we have to get it to come down and... yeah. Get it to work. That's where I try summoning another water block echo, but as we've already discovered, they don't last. For some reason, they pop whenever, like bubbles, whenever Link does it. So if I just get it positioned better, this might work. And here I'm just looking through all my other echoes, all the echoes I know, so many of them, to see if there's anything that might help. And I decide maybe this trampoline. Which Link doesn't even respond to, unfortunately. No. In the end, I'm pretty sure this platform is the only thing I came up with that actually worked. Again, I'm not sure if it's the only thing that would work. Oh, there we go. But in the end, this is what manages to get it all to work. And there we go. That sorts out that problem. Yeah, we've met up again. There we go. Back together again. Still cannot save, which is where I was thinking of maybe saving because we're nearing the end of this. Really short conversations when both of them are silent protagonists. And here we go. This is it. Down there is Null. So let's go. And no, we can't save. I've checked. Many times. And here we are. Imposter Zelda and Null, who has evolved from Gengar into Haunter. Sorry, Haunter into Gengar. Yeah, both of us are here. Yeah, we intend to interfere. Get used to it. If we don't meddle in affairs that aren't any of our concern, the world ends. That's why you villains always bring up us heroes meddling. Okay, so he essentially eats her / reabsorbs her, and now we're back to dealing with Null, who now absorbs the Triforce of Power. Which cannot be good for anyone. And that's what happens when you let the bad guys get claim the Triforce like it's nothing. For crying out loud, do you have any idea how much effort I put into closing all these rifts the first time? Oh, waves of dark energy like that is bad. It's never been a good thing in any game ever. Don't worry. Once we deal with Null, everything will be fine. Once we have the full Triforce, we can set everything right. Okay. Apparently he understands now, or it understands, or they, whatever. Greedy little monster, aren't you? That wants the entire Triforce. Well, Null, I've got bad news for you. You're up against the dynamic duo that has been keeping people from villains from getting a hold of the full Triforce for over 40 years now. You stand no chance. And now we gotta look at him in proper. Null. The final boss of this game. The rest of this game is basically this boss fight. Alright, so this is a joint effort between us and Link. We have to take out Null's arms to start with. As you can see, Null has 3 of them, like some sort of evil floating Triskelion. And it will send these dark claws through the ground at us like shockwaves. And when I say us, typically I mean us, specifically. Zelda specifically. Null seems to aim for her over everyone else. The good news is this means that we can actually act as a decoy while our Echoes and Link cause all the damage. I kind of start by summoning the Wizrobe here because the Wizrobe can aim better than the Freezards. I think this may have been a mistake. As I mentioned previously, the Frost Breath is a cone, so it will actually aim up. Null doesn't float high enough to avoid getting hit. So you'll see that as we progress, but for the moment this is fine. As far as I can tell, we can actually hit both Null and the arms. I don't know if it matters if we aim directly for the arms or not. I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. Eventually Null will lose its arms and be stunned, and then we can just damage it. Normally. You'll then go inside the walls. Now its arms are going to spawn from the walls, and this is kind of the same sort of thing before, except now all 3 limbs are going to launch out these dark shockwaves at us. So we now have... Yeah, this is where I start switching over to the freezers to see if they're going to be good. As you see, they do. Once they get close enough, it doesn't matter. Null will get hit. And I switch back and forth between them. Basically, this is what I do from this point onward. Using either the Wizrobe or the freezers to hit them. These arms, by the way, have a lot of hit points. If Null has one advantage over any other final boss in any Zelda game I've played in recent memory, it's probably just health, in all honesty. That and the fact that Null literally is the broom, essentially. So his attacks can come from anywhere. Pretty sure the arms have to be fully emerged from the walls before we damage them, because at least a few of these hits didn't work. Fortunately, Link is going to be able to shoot with his bow and magic arrows here. There we go, 1 arm down. Yeah. The main reason this video went so long is mainly because this boss fight actually does take a while. It's not overly hard, it's fun, but it's kind of relatively straightforward. It's just... Null has so much hit points. So many hit points. And a lot of phases, too. Alright, once we take out the arms, Null emerges again. And now we're back to basically more of the same. And by more of the same, I mean, of course, more Shadow Claws, essentially. Null will occasionally start attacking our echoes now, if you notice. But mainly it's just they'll just get hit by it because they're not moving and they're kind of unlucky for being in the way. Null also will attack Link, but Link has no hit points, so he's fine. And this is when I start again switching over to the freezers, because they basically, if we put enough bodies on the field, I find, it distracts Null, and we can get some hits in much more easily. And there we go, 1 arm down. See, the freezers actually might work a lot better than the Wizrobe. I think I switched them from this point onward. One of the arms will get tired, essentially, after it does an attack on occasion, and that's really the good time to start doing lots of damage to it. As you can see right there. And it'll also keep launching its attacks at us and moving about. That's the downside for the freezers. There we go. 2 arms down. We have 1 more. The other nice thing is, once the freezers take out the last arm, they're basically in prime position to just keep attacking Null. There we go. Surround him! Alright, I just start spinning into Null for something to do. I can't damage Null that way. Alright, he goes back on the wall now. And we're back to this. In this phase, Null adds another trick. You'll see here in a moment. Null will start creating these dark, basically quagmires, essentially on the ground, that linger for quite some time, by the way. And basically these are more hazards to worry about. The other downside to them is it's an area effect attack, which means it can take out all of my freezers at once. Like that. But the main downside is it just creates a hazard we have to worry about. It's like the grease spell from Dungeons & Dragons, except it's like caustic acid instead of grease. Fortunately, we can just summon an infinite number of echoes, and we're fine. But keep them out of basically any attack from Null destroys our echoes. I don't know how much damage it does, if it's just the echoes don't have a lot of hit points, or if it's just literally designed to be a one-shot kill for them. Regardless, that's the result. Alright, there's another arm down at least. Yeah. The Shadow Claw attack still seems the one that tires out the arms the most. There we go. Yeah, I think the freezers really are for speeding this up now. Alright, Null gets a bit more aggressive at this point, and starts creating more of these quagmires. Alright. And keeps launching his shadow claws at us. Yeah, fortunately he telegraphs the Quagmire attack a bit better. By his attack, as you can see, he flexes his claw more, holds it up in the air to charge it almost. Since the Quagmires are very much a ground-based hazard, I switch back to the Ice Wizard at this point, which can fly. Doesn't matter too much because the Ice Wizard will just still die in a single hit from Null and just contact by the looks of it. But it does help. Especially since Null really likes to focus on Zelda. Not much room to stand sometimes during this fight, as you can see. Yeah, Link switched to keep using your bow. I switch back to the freezers once Null is down because there's 3 of them and they can just add a lot more damage to speed this up. Alright, more and more and more of Null is getting eaten away by this. Alright, technically speaking, I think that might be the end of actual phase 1, but I'm referring it to multiple phases. Null's going to try and flee at this point, and we have to pursue. We're able to do so, but Link is cut off and surrounded by more of Null's arms. 5 of them. Alright, so that's where Link's going to be at for the moment, and we are going to be in this, I really don't know what to describe this as. It's essentially an underwater section. Null's also going to start absorbing some of Tri's friends that are in this rift, apparently. And they're going to grow some extra appendages, which have captured little Tri sprites on them. And it's going to start swimming as a fish. Yes, this is an underwater section. I didn't notice this at this point. Going that I actually do have a breath meter to worry about. Speaking of breath, I consider actually using the freezer here, because it's kind of fun using it as an attachment in the front. Kind of like playing a Galaga game. Yeah, the wizard will just drown. Before I switch back to the Chomp Fin, which is much better for underwater. I also have to worry about that, by the way. I haven't noticed it yet, but there are air bubbles, and I'm about to run out of air. Fortunately, you don't have to worry. There, I've noticed now. So the goal here is to obviously take out the appendages that have the Tri-Ice sprites on them. Because they keep summoning echoes. You have to worry about tons of these water spouts from that giant fish boss we fought back in the water temple. And then it's just the Chomp Fins just chewing on Tri. Sorry, Null. The downside is Null swims quite fast. And with everything else, it's hard for the Chomp Fins to even get hits in. That, and basically in this phase, Null is kind of like a Hydra, where he grows heads, or appendages, I guess. Fortunately, we just don't have to get too many hits in before this phase is over, and we can go back out now. But Null has picked up a new trick, unfortunately. He gets to keep those appendages. Well, it's good to see that Link was able to handle all those arms on his own. Unfortunately, we now have to deal with Null in what is, I guess, essentially Phase 3. Yeah, basically, I think it is technically a 3-phase fight. It's just Phase 1 kind of has mini-phases, and so does Phase 3, by the way. So as you can see, Null's grown some extra arms now. And some masks. So, the Null sprites are basically the Echo sprites. I don't know what to call them. Tri-sprites, I guess. The extra arms that have that look like Tri on the end of them let Null create echoes of the various bosses we've fought. Like, well, there you go. The size of Metallic we fought back in the first start of the game. And these hippogriff mole things that we fought. I don't remember what they're called. Those boss fights were a long time ago. The goal of this is basically the same though. Take out the appendages to stun Null in order to damage the main weapon. Null is basically an amoeba at this point. Honestly, I think I probably should have focused on the ones that are summoning more than the ones that are just trying to claw us, but I took what I could get at this point, because from this point on, this boss fight becomes utter chaos. Because there is just attacks flying around left, right, and center. It's very hard to keep track of anything. And it's very hard to just avoid getting hit. Fortunately, the Freezers have one other kind of advantage. When they can't attack something, they basically just become stationary. It actually helps them avoid some of the attacks. There we go. It doesn't work for this one with the sand, for the desert twister thing. But it works for the size of a talus. I try summoning these at a distance to try and get them actually on the limbs. Like I said, I don't think it actually matters that much. I think as long as we're damaging Null's body or arms, we're basically doing damage, which is progressing the boss fight. Don't quote me on that because I'm not sure exactly, but near as I can tell, that's how it works. Wow, that's one really good shield Link has. It blocks desert twisters. There we go, we managed to interrupt them. So yeah, I think it's just, you have to do just damage. So in that case, the freezers work perfectly fine. Alright, one mask down. Those masks basically represent lives for all intents and purposes at this point. Alright, now it's going to be tri-sprite appendages as opposed to claw appendages coming out of the wall. Oh, don't worry. If you miss the claws, they come up from the floor now, kind of like a floor master does. I don't know what happens if they hit us. I assume it's just damage. But I just am trying to avoid it. Which is basically just spin. This is spin to win is back, basically. And we're trying to get rid of the tri-appendages. Because the claws don't stick around long enough to worry about. And there we go, there's one down. And they basically just will start summoning dark nuts by the looks of it. I might actually get hit in this boss fight with those claws. That claw coming to the floor, I cannot tell. As I said, this boss fight becomes very hectic very fast at this point. And I'm just trying to make sure all of my freezers are in place to do damage, and I'm out of the way so I'm not getting hit. That's basically the best I can do at this point. Fortunately, the arms tend to only show up in very similar spots. I think there's only a limited number of spots on the wall that can actually appear. Or if it is, then the AI only picks very similar spots. Fortunately for me, it's easier to just summon the freezers close to the boss than it is waiting to catch up. And yeah, I'm glad I stocked up on potions, because you go through a lot of hearts in this boss fight. I just want to point out that Null is still not nearly as dangerous as that Shadow Lionel was. I mean, that did a lot of damage to me in a very short order and actually cost me a fairy. Null's not done that well by comparison. There we go. Alright, Null emerges now. Unfortunately, Null has regrown all their appendages. Like I said, they're basically a Hydra in this boss fight. Oh yeah, now they're going to summon Shadow Ganons. Multiples. Fortunately, the Shadow Echoes they summon stick around basically for one attack for the bosses. Which is good, because they'd probably be very hard to take out. Next up, we have Shadow Scorchills. We're gonna do their little spin attack, which can freeze us and just shatter my freezers like glass. So if you thought this boss fight was too easy to so far, don't worry. Null is going to add some more tricks and it's going to get even worse. There we go. So the Shadow Ganons are women who are attacking me for trident, which is good because I don't think we can handle any of their the actual bigger magic attacks they can do. Scorchill's kind of annoying, but doesn't really have too good of an aim. And by this point, we're actually getting pretty good, as you can see. It's just causing damage to Null and cutting through the appendages. We're already down to only 2, the 5 that I started with. Alright, we're down to 1 now. Yeah, just try to avoid getting frozen. Just basically just spin out of the way. That's the answer to that. Alright. Come on, Null can't take much more of this. There we go. I think? Did we just... No, it has one level left. It looked like we got rid of the last appendage, but there we go. Now we did it. Alright, now we just have to cause it damage. Alright, that's another mask going. Just 1 left. Let's gonna go back into the walls now. We have this wall phase again to worry about. This time it summons lots of moblins. What looks at that. Going for numbers over quantity, I think, this time. Yeah, that claw comes out of the floor again, as usual. Kind of more of the same. Oh, there's Alphos as well. Yeah. This is where, as I said, it gets very hard to keep track of everything because basically the entire room is trying to attack you and there's monsters everywhere. Both ours and Null's. The good news is we're almost through this now. There's not much more to say about the wall phase is what I call it, because it's kind of the halfway point. Basically, it's just more of the same. Try and avoid the echoes. Try and have your freezers damage the appendages to get rid of them. Hope Link can contribute and really avoid the claws that come out of the floor. The freezer's really coming in handy in this fight. I'm really glad I'm really glad it's working out so well because I can really make use of my frost breath one final time before the game ends. Because the appendages just come out of the wall and they just basically stick there. There for a while, they can blast them. It also means we can have a whole bunch of echoes on our side, as opposed to just the wizard. Which, as I've covered before, gets outnumbered really easily and can get overwhelmed. Oh, it did get hit. Okay, so it does just do damage. I mean, that makes sense. I guess because it's a hand that comes out of the floor, so I'm thinking of the Floor Masters from Wind Waker and all the other games. It would be ridiculous if it took you back to the start of the dungeon. But there's a few enemies in these games that kind of drag you into this pocket dimension and have you fight some other boss fight or some sort of gauntlet fight to escape. That's come up in this game. Alright. Fortunately, it's just damage. It's just another form of attack. Alright. I believe this is now the final part of this. Final bit of this phase. And Null now summons 6 Shadow Ganons. Yeah. That's a little ridiculous. Oh, 1 Limgrind is one of the try-summoning ones. I don't know if it matters. 3 Shadow Scorchills now. Even harder to avoid. But that one freezer managed it. Who's to say the freezers shouldn't be the real heroes of this story? They've sacrificed themselves selflessly while blasting their frost breath at our enemies. Okay, now Seismitalis and 4 Shadow Ganons. This is getting a bit intense. This is approaching Toho levels at this point. Of levels of projectiles to avoid. Okay, Shadow Goma now. Gonna leave a bunch of webs everywhere. And more Desert Twisters. Alright, the webs are going to be really annoying, so I should probably get rid of those. Because basically everyone's going to get stuck on them. I'm really glad I prepared all those potions. Really glad at this point. Yeah, this is the phase where we want to be able to dodge around, and the webs are going to get really annoying. I need to deal something with those. Alright, I need to burn the webs. There we go. Right. It's a bit difficult to see at this point with some of the other things going on, but I think it's down to 2 limbs. 1 claw and 1 trident. Yes, it is. Okay. Good. Oh, never mind. There goes the claw, too. The claws are pretty easy to get rid of at this point. Alright, so this is the Shadow Ganons, and then the Seismitalis and the Shadow Ganon wave. Null is barely holding itself together at this point. Oh, not more webs. The webs really do make this more annoying. Alright, burn them quickly. Burn them really quickly. Oh no, I think the frost breath actually put out the flames. Yeah, that cinder web is still around. I still can't get over the fact six Ganons for a boss fight like this. Alright, burn the last web. Make sure it burns this time. There we go. More spin attacks from the Scorchills. Alright, there we go. Die! Die! Freeze! Yes, okay! We did it! Hooray! Alright, now we need to bind to the Triforce of Power and pull it out of Null! Link, help! Help pull! Oh no, it's a... Okay, it's a button mashing QTA. Why can't we just have the hold down the button ones? I prefer those immensely. They're so much easier on your controller. If this wears on my A button, Nintendo. Well, it was all worth it to get the Triforce of Power away from that omnicidal maniac. Oh, wow. It really grew dependent on the Triforce of Power, apparently. Alright, we now have the complete Triforce in our possession. There we go. No, we're not giving it to you. We just fought you to keep it out of your hands. Alright. Triforce, set everything right. Banish Null from this plane of existence. We're not giving it to you. You not just hear what we want the Triforce to do. You just not just hear what we wished for. There we go. Main quest complete. Alright. Yep, with the Triforce and all the tries, we should be able to set everything right now. Ah, there we go. Wow, that's a lot of tries. Ah, good. We don't have to worry about, you know, fixing all those rifts again. That was very annoying the first time. Hey, look, they managed to fall again this time. Ah, yes, staring into a white void. I enjoy nothing quite so much as that. Floating here, still in the cat suit. Oh, it's a lot of them. Yeah. And, here's kind of a bittersweet moment. Their task is done. The rifts will disappear, and the world will return to peace. Which unfortunately means, tries not needed here. They came to heal an injured world. The world's healed now, which means they are going to leave. They're going to depart back to... They're going back to sleep. With the goddesses now. This is, you know, the kind of the whole... And here... Now, friends, is the breaking of our fellowship. This is the moment where Gandalf goes back into the West, and Tri has to follow suit here. Tri's task is complete, and we saved Hyrule. But, unfortunately, that means we have to say goodbye to a friend. Well, yeah, I mean, it is a bittersweet moment. I know it's for the best for everything, but... Yeah. I think Tri finally understands human emotions. Yes. This is the end of our journey together, Tri. We had quite the adventure, but unfortunately... it's time to say goodbye. Yes, the feeling you're thinking of is bittersweet. It is happy, it's a happy ending, but there's a sad context to it because... It's, well, basically, it's the end of something. It's an end of one journey. Now, it's something you spent a lot of your time on. Thank you is not really a feeling, it's just something you say. I suppose you can feel gratitude, so I guess it is kind of maybe an emotion, I don't know. That can get a little wishy-washy sometimes. Yep. Tri has to go. Thank you, Tri. Thank you for all your efforts. I guess that's as close to a hug as we can give Tri because, you know, Tri's kind of a tiny little gold ball that's barely bigger than our hand. Got more staring into a white void. Ah, there we go. We're back. Hey, we got to keep the staff. There we go. We have a memento to remember try by. Hey, that means we can still summon all our echoes, too. Alright. I would like to introduce you all to the newest guards, the newest addition to the Hyrulean military force. These Freezards are very useful. In all seriousness, though, this is the end of the game. And peace has returned to Hyrule. Ah, there's Blueberry. Finally gets to reunite with Link. I swear a tradition of Zelda games these days is becoming old people really supporting the heroes. Because that's been a theme for the past 3 games now. Ah, the King of Hyrule. Good news, Dad. Everything is resolved now. Oh yeah, this is Link! Yeah, this is probably the first... This is the game in which... Well, I mean, Link's the main character of the series for the most part. And Link is kind of just barely in this one at all. I mean, let's be honest. Even compared to Zelda's role in most Zelda games, Link played an even less of a role in this one. Because I think if we added up all the screen time, just like comparing it to a recent one, it was Tears of the Kingdom. Zelda had a much bigger role in that, and a lot more presence and much more screen time than Link has had in this one. Yeah, but Zelda's sad that Tri is no longer here. That is unfortunate. And as is customary on my channel, we will now watch the credits. For all the people who worked really hard on this amazing game. So, please stick around to watch the credits, just you know, because this game was made by Nintendo. They deserve all the credit they can get, especially since I'm allowed to play this on my channel. So, you know, take a look and really appreciate all the hard work all these amazing game developers put into this incredibly amazing game. And if you can't be bothered to do that, well, stick around until the bit in the end of the video, because I have some stuff to say. Alright, hopefully you all stuck around to watch the credits. If you didn't, shame on you. But first, thank you for watching, everyone. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And please join me here again next time, because next week we'll be starting a new Zelda game. Hey, look, Triforce around. As I mentioned previously, if you didn't hear the announcement, this is my announcement now. We'll be playing The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time to see if I can beat it before the remake comes out. That's the main reason I wanted to get this all done in one video. It went a bit long, but there it is. There you go. The end. As I said, thank you for watching, everyone. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And please join me here again next time, because we will be starting Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. Goodbye, everyone.